Good day, Commander. In this operation, you will learn everything you need about the transportation and troop movement across the vast operational areas. Your task is to capture the Northern Island. To cope with this task, you will have to cross the channel with your troops first. The easiest way to do it is to board the Naval Transport. Select the tank unit. On the Unit Actions panel, click the Embarkation button, then select Embark on Ship. Did not work out, right? This is because you can only embark on a ship next to an operational seaport. Fortunately, you have just the one. Move the tank unit into the seaport hex and try embarking on the ship one more time. Note that if your unit has boarded any transport, you cannot change that unit's equipment. Perfect. Your tank unit has boarded a transport ship. Now move the ship to the opposite coast into the designated hex. The only thing left is to click on the disembark button, and your tank will speed off right into the battle. Do it now. It seems we did not tell you that all heavy machinery can be unloaded only at a seaport. Only the infantry without the heavy equipment can disembark in clear or shallow terrain. Naval transport is a good way to transport your troops, no doubts about that. However, the fastest way to redeploy your troops is clearly air transportation. Aircraft can cover large distances fast and redeploy your troops to virtually any location. However, only infantry units can board an airplane. Moreover, you should avoid the enemy anti-aircraft fire. Loading your troops into air transport will require an operational airfield. Select the regular infantry unit, click on the embarkation button, and select the embark on airplane. Did not work out, right? Well, the problem is your unit has ground transport. If you plan on loading this unit into an airplane, you'll have to discard it. You also have to discard the heavy equipment if you have any. To do that, click on the infantry with your middle mouse button to open the unit info screen. Select the equipment tab, then select your ground transport and click on the discard button. Great, now your infantry is ready to board air transport. Close the unit info screen, click on the embarkation button, and then select Embark on Airplane. Air transport has 15 move points, which allows it to redeploy troops across huge distances in one turn. Move the air transport to the designated hex on the Northern Island, and then click on the disembark button. Unfortunately, units can disembark from air transport only at an airfield, but there is one exception from this rule: paratroopers. Embark them on an airplane. Travel to the designated hex and land the paratroopers in the enemy's rear. Surely was a splendid idea, but paratroopers can only land in clear terrain, and there's only forest terrain nearby. You should remember that to avoid such unfortunate occurrences in the future, when your paratroopers could come under enemy aviation strike and perish. Now that we started to talk about it, let's have a look at the terrain types. Open the designated hex's info screen. Every hex has its parameters, which affect both troops movement and combat. At the top of the info screen, you can see terrain type. In our case, it's a forest. In the left column, you can see move points cost, which every unit has to spend to enter this hex. In the right column, you can see the information about combat bonuses or penalties the unit will have while in this hex. At the bottom, you can read more about this terrain type and the nearby infrastructure, if there is any. Close the info screen and open the tank's unit info screen. If you hover over the move points icon, the hint will tell you the unit's movement type. Units spend move points according to the movement and terrain types. Close unit info screen and click on the end turn button. Your Your troops are ready to begin the offensive, Commander. It is time we take this island. Our paratroopers will be the vanguard of our advance. Select paratroopers at the units panel and move them to the designated hex. Note that if your troops land next to an enemy unit, they'll be automatically attacked, as they will be an easy target. So it is better to land further from cities and enemy positions. Your paratroopers can still move after the landing. Move them closer to the city. There is an enemy unit in the city. Select the bomber and attack it. Now finish off enemy infantry with your paratroopers and occupy the seaport who is guarding. Great, the seaport is ours. Using the units panel, select the tank on board the transport ship and move it to the designated hex. Click on the disembark button, then on the designated hex. Finally, our tanks have solid ground under their tracks. As the unit can still move, order it to capture the airfield. Now we have only the infantry left to disembark. Move it to the designated hex, click on the disembark button, and then on the designated hex. All of your troops have now successfully landed on the northern island. Click on the end turn button. There is still one city under enemy control on the island. It is across the river and it is connected to the seaport with both road and railroad. There are two types of rivers, big and small. Big River occupies the whole hex and cannot be crossed without boarding the ship. Only the infantry without ground transport and heavy equipment can cross it without embarking on a ship. Unlike any other unit, infantry can even attack from the river. However, it gets serious penalties to both attack and defense parameters. Small rivers run between hexes. All units can cross them but have to spend additional move points to do it. Units can attack across the small rivers but receive penalties to combat parameters. The easiest way to cross the big river is to move across the bridge, yet you have to be careful as your troops are very vulnerable while on the bridge and get serious combat penalties. Select the tank unit and move it towards the enemy city. Good. As the infantry cannot keep up with the tanks on foot, you should make use of transport. First, select the paratroopers and order them to capture the railroad station. The railroad is a great way of rapid troops redeployment. Additionally, it connects remote supply points to the supply hub across vast distances. Its only downside is that you can only use the existing railroad network. Click on the embarkation button, then select Embark on Train. Send the train with paratroopers into the designated hex. Let us talk about ground transport. The bases of any modern army are both wheeled trucks and tracked personnel carriers. Any non-self-propelled units can be equipped with vehicles. Open the Equipment tab. Here you can see a list of all the vehicles available to date. Select the truck from the list and click on the Acquire button. Perfect. Now your infantry can keep up with the self-propelled units. Another key aspect of fast transportation is roads. If a unit moves from one road hex into another road hex, it spends only one move point, regardless of the terrain type. Close the Equipment tab. If the infantry moves within its basic move points range, proceeds on foot as if it did not have the vehicles. However, if the unit has to travel further than possible on foot, It'll board the ground transport to get there. X's that require boarding the vehicles are marked with a vehicle icon. Units become easy target for the enemy forces and cannot attack while in the vehicle. Disembark at this was a good demonstration of what could happen if you send forward your troops recklessly without proper reconnaissance. The risk of losing them is too high. Being an easy target, your unit will automatically be attacked by all enemy troops if it enters their gun range. Click on the end turn button. Advance with your tanks and capture the railroad station, right under the enemy's nose. Attack the enemy artillery. Excellent. Select the paratroopers and move them to the station, then disembark at the designated hex. You've approached the enemy artillery from the rear. The unit has to attack across a small river, and under different circumstances, it could be a bad idea. However, in our case, the enemy artillery is out of ammunition, so you can ignore the penalties for attacking across a small river. Finish off when the enemy is defeated. The city was left defenseless and there is no stopping us from capturing it. Occupy the enemy supply point. Congratulations! The operation was a success. Click on the Finish Operation button to exit to the tutorial menu.